Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another episode of How About Them Celtics. Sam and I are here recording on Monday, December 30th, talking about the Celtics because, well, that's the whole point. But we're here after the Celtics lost to the Pacers. Rough stretch, rough patch for the Celtics, roughest patch they've been in a while. But we're here to talk about it. Sam, how you doing?
I've had better weeks in terms of enjoying the team, but for content purposes, I suppose it does make it a little bit more fun for us to come up here and say something other than "Oh my God, they're the best team ever," even though they should be fine ultimately at the end of the day. But here we are, fun show ahead for you guys. We're going to talk about how they're not doing great right now for a little bit. Talk about some rumors. Talk about your emails. Then we'll go around the NBA, check the standings, get you up to date with all things happening around the association. Then we'll go through the rat list and we'll get you up out of here. Make sure you subscribe, leave a like, comment, and hit the bell because we're here every single day. Full pods drop Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. Game recaps are up the morning after each game. And other videos are on the channel on the days in between. But yes, the Celtics have seen better days.
Yeah, they're not in top form at the moment. And let's just start with the defense because I think the defense has been the biggest problem this year by a pretty wide margin. I know some people are going to point to the threes and, oh, look, you're taking so many threes, they're inefficient. Like, yeah, but they put up what, 114 last night? You should be able to win that game with defense. If you put up 114 points, you should be able to win that basketball game if you're the Celtics, whose defense is supposed to be one of the best in the league. And it hasn't been. It hasn't been that good. The Pacers put up 66 points in the paint against them on Sunday night. The Sixers just blitzed them with Tyrese Maxey and the barrage of Caleb Martin threes on Christmas. And sandwiched in between that was an actually impressive defensive performance. But if you do it once in every 3 games, you're not going to have a very good season. So there are larger problems afoot in the defense, I should say. It's been pretty ugly to watch. I have a bunch of clips, so if you're listening on audio platforms, I'll do my best to describe them for you. But for those watching on YouTube, I'm going to be going through a bunch of clips that are, I don't know, part of the problem with the defense that have constantly been popping
I
up.
like this. Jack is going to put everyone on blast. Just because I was curious when you were talking about scoring 114 points, there are 11 teams in the NBA, 10 if you don't include the Celtics, that score over 114 a game. So Jack is very much correct. Typically, you should be able to win if you score 114 points or more.
Yeah, I mean that's a pretty fine bar to set for yourself, and if you don't win when you reach there, I wonder how many of the Celtics games where they have scored 114 points they have won this season because I can't imagine that they've made a habit of losing games where they managed to score that many points. I can do a quick look here because I don't think it'll take too long to find out. But let's see, Celtics points, and then at least 114. Shocker. They've scored 114 in a lot of their games, but actually not as good of a record as you'd expect. They've played in 20 games and they are, well, I guess they're 15-5. So it's pretty all right. But
75% win is good for most teams. Not this one. Shameful.
But they've lost 2 of their last 3 that they've scored 114 in, and 3 of their last 6 that they've scored 114 in. So that's definitely not the ideal part. But regardless, the defense just hasn't been good. And a lot of it has been communication. A lot of it has been individual defense. Screen navigation has been really bad against the Pacers and the Sixers from what I've seen. I mean, I was looking for clips to talk about for this part of the show, and I got roughly 5 minutes into the Pacers game, and I had 7 clips already that were like, yeah, this is enough to talk about how bad this is done. So it's just been really lazy. It's been a lot of laziness, a lot of focus issues, a lot of miscommunications, a lot of things that a team that is competing for a championship shouldn't have to deal with. And if it happens once throughout a game, it's all right because it's close to impossible to be perfect for an entire game, right? You save that for the playoffs. As silly as that may sound to some people, like it is hard to stay focused for long stretches of time. It's just an objectively difficult thing to do. When it happens over and over and over and over again, and it's not just every once in like X amount of minutes, that's when it becomes okay. The defense is just bad. Like it's not like a focus drifting every once in a while issue. It's you don't have any focus. So we can go through some of the clips unless you have anything to say before we get into them.
Yeah, I mean, we'll go through clips, and I just have some examples in mind last night because I wrote about just these lapses happening at a pretty shitty time in the game, and it's become a trend now. Like back-to-back losses in games that they should not have lost. Like they really should have won yesterday. You mentioned that they scored enough points to do so. They scored exactly 114 points on Christmas too. So if you want to count that one, that's another one that you can look at. And the way that they lost on Christmas just felt like I felt like I was almost having deja vu yesterday. As soon as they made this big push to get back in the game, all of a sudden the wheels come off and Indiana's getting paint points, they're getting transition buckets, and all of the work that the Celtics have done to get back in the game is gone in the blink of an eye because they're just giving up easy looks without making the Pacers or Sixers work. With the exception of one of the Halliburton buckets late in the fourth yesterday when they were within two, he I mean, Indy had used 20 seconds of the shot clock before he even started his drive. So the Celtics played a good defensive possession, and they almost got him to miss. But after that, the wheels really came off.
Yeah, let me share my screen here. I have a bunch of clips in this window. I think this is it. Can you see all the tabs when I share this? Yeah, you
The
can.
thing is still loaded. Yeah, I can see your
Yeah.
binder
Uh,
full of
let
clips.
me move our screen to our. Here we go. Just so we can.
Ooh, we haven't had this one in a while.
I know. Just so we can look at some things. This is gonna make me editing a TikTok a lot harder if I decide to make edit of this though. So we'll see if I do that. But anyways, so here is the very first possession of the game. This is literally the Pacers' first offensive possession that they had in this game.
I'm on the edge of my
And
seat.
I don't have sound on, but it's literally just Al Horford does a good job staying in front of Nemhard. He almost gives up a step back, but then he recovers and gets in front of him. And then Sam Hauser can't get around a screen, and it doesn't matter. Like first possession of the game, Al Horford, great job, good job. Even gets back in time to help on the drive. This is an awful attempt to get around a screen by Sam Hauser. You got to be sprinting around the screen. Miles Turner doesn't even set the screen, and Sam Hauser it keeps blocking out because I keep
He doesn't
tapping
get
out. I'll
hit.
stop tapping out. He doesn't even get hit, and he doesn't even get around the screen. Tatum doesn't help either because he's too worried about Miles Turner on the drive, even though realistically, like you have help from Jaylen Brown, you have help from Al Horford, help on the ball because Sam Hauser got beat. Like first and foremost, Sam Hauser needs to be screaming, help, help, help. Jason Tatum needs to help. And then Jaylen Brown and Al Horford need to scramble to recover everywhere else because like Andrew Nemhard's a threat here, but Jaylen Brown is on the back line, so he could rush out if Tyrese Halliburton finds a pass. Al Horford actually does a pretty good job of contesting at the rim, but it all starts from Hauser and Tatum not communicating. Hauser shouldn't have he should have done a better job getting around the screen, and Tatum should have recognized that he got beat and helped over sooner. So just immediately at the start of the game, not enough effort from Sam Hauser to get around that screen, not enough wherewithal from Jason Tatum to realize, okay, I can help on Halliburton because we have two guys in the paint to help on Turner.
It's funny. I don't know what clips you have selected for the next several, but what I will say is this might be the only time that they helped over on Miles Turner because the rest of the first quarter felt like
Yeah.
he was open on every single pick and roll. Even if he didn't get the ball, it was like, wow, they missed him. He was wide open for a dunk. So I'm sure it's going to get worse. It's not a great way to start the game. And this may be a very mean pod if you're Sam Hauser. It may end up being a day of us just looking and being like, he doesn't have it on defense, which a lot of people are starting to say now because it's been a long enough sample size where we're seeing it game after game. Whatever he's dealt with his back has either hindered him from being able to do it in the game or being able to work on it outside and continue to be sharp defensively because he doesn't look like the same guy he was last year, and the minutes will reflect that. He's playing less and less. Like he started the game yesterday and he only played 8 minutes in the first half. Like his first stint in the game was the only stint that he played.
Yeah, Sam Hauser is a good defender. He was last year, and maybe, like you said, it's the back issue. Jordan Wall should be playing over him right now. He's been that bad of a defensive liability. And I was looking through these clips, and I'm like, oh my god, like I've gotten 5 minutes into the game, and I've opened 6 clips, and Sam Hauser's like 3 of them, just getting beat as an individual defender. And you're not gonna have a good team defense if you have guys like that. Here's the next one, which is a minute later into the game. 10:30. Halliburton on Derek White. Derek White does a really, really good job. I'm turning the sound off. Derek White does a good job of defending the drive. He completely shuts off Halliburton, who gets a deflected pass out to Andrew Nemhard. And then Tatum doesn't get around the screen, and Jaylen Brown just completely loses Pascal Siakam off the ball. Just a complete lack of focus by Jaylen Brown. And Tatum actually does a better job, I should say, of getting around the screen than I give him credit for. It was a pretty good screen and a little bit of a push by Miles Turner. Nothing you're going to call, but he does put two hands on him. So Tatum fights around. He could have maybe sprinted a little more to help, but this play was not his fault. Jaylen Brown just is defending the corner. Then he looks too much at the ball handler, and Pascal Siakam literally walks into the paint for an open bucket because Jaylen Brown was not paying attention off the ball.
Is there something here where maybe they are meant to be switching a ghost screen? Because if you look at just the corner, right? Tyrese comes up, Pascal goes back. Do you think he's assuming that he is now going to cover Tyrese because Pascal has been picked up by Derek? I mean, listen,
I don't think he even saw Tyrese. Yeah.
There's also a part of this, Jack. I mean, look at the fucking jerseys they're wearing, the yellow jerseys. Like, this is not a troll thing. I'm serious. Like, how do you miss that? It's not hard to see.
It's a lack of focus. I mean, we've seen it over and over throughout the years. Jaylen Brown is not a good off-ball defender. Like, he's not. And he gets lost, and he loses guys, and teams get easy back cuts, and that's what this was. He just lost track of the guy he was supposed to be guarding. That's it. It's all that happened. He just lost him. Forgot him. And again, this happens every once in a while. It does. Like, this is not like, if this happens once in a game, you're sitting there like, all right, sure. You know, it is what it is. That sucks. Get it back next session. It's the fact that these laps in focuses happened multiple times throughout the games that makes it a bigger problem, because then it's the entire defense that is suffering and struggling. And that's when it becomes an issue, when the mistakes build up. So, I mean, again, we're 2 minutes into the game, less than 2 minutes into the game, and we've seen the Celtics make two mistakes.
We're 2 minutes in, and Jack is mad as hell already.
I'm not mad. I'm just like, this is why. This is why the defense is bad. Like, not even disappointed. Like, I don't care. Like, it's whatever. It's just, this is why the defense has been bad, because lack of focuses, lack of efforts, like these little things have built up. So next one, a few minutes later, Pacers up 10-5. And inbounding, Tyrese Halliburton gets it to Mathurin in the corner. Sam Hauser fights around the screen to get on Mathurin. Jason Tatum is now guarding Miles Turner. Halliburton comes all the way up. They switch it off the ball. Sam Hauser and Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum don't communicate enough. Sam Hauser chases Tyrese Halliburton, and Jaylen Brown switches, which I'll talk about something else in a sec. Hauser chases Halliburton up. Turner sets a ghost screen and then slips to the rim. Tatum and Hauser don't communicate quick enough. Turner gets wide open in the paint for a bucket. And Joe Mazzulla calls his first time out of the game because the Celtics are playing awful defense. Now, are you frozen or are you here? I can't tell. I think you're frozen. So I'll talk to myself a little bit longer. So when this play happened, for audio listeners, it looks like Hauser and Tatum in the action. Turner beats Hauser off the ball and gets an easy dunk. You could say, okay, Hauser didn't fight hard enough and didn't communicate. He should have gone to Turner. You could say Tatum didn't communicate enough because he didn't, go to Turner either, nor did he yell out to Hauser soon enough what he was supposed to be doing. However, sneakily, I don't know if you're back to hear this. I saw you're frozen for a sec. Sneakily on this play, everyone looked at this play in real time and saw Sam Hauser, Jason Tatum, miscommunication on the screen. Turner gets an open dunk. Joe Mazzulla calls his first time out of the game, obviously, but it's kind of Jaylen Brown's fault too, because you look at this. Jaylen Brown guarding the inbounds pass. Ben Mathurin goes to the corner. Hauser's on Mathurin. Mathurin kicks it up to Turner, who's guarded by Tatum. Tyrese Halliburton's going to sprint around the outside here, and instead of following him, Jaylen Brown just points at Sam Hauser to off-balancely sprint after Tyrese Halliburton instead. And that's kind of sends everything into disarray when Jaylen Brown could have easily just followed him himself. Like he gets to the same point as Hauser does, but then just kind of pushes or tells Hauser to go anyways. And then by the time Hauser's up at the screen, his momentum is taking him all the way to the top and Turner's already coming down. And then instead of helping on the drive, Jaylen Brown just sticks to the corner and Turner gets a wide open dunk. So when this happened in real time, everyone was mad at Tatum and Hauser, and they're definitely at fault as well for the lack of communication. But in reality, like, why did Jaylen Brown not just follow Halliburton himself? Why did Hauser go and off balancely do that, and then Jaylen Brown didn't help on the drive? So this was definitely one of the first plays of the game where I think everyone started to notice, like, what the hell is this defensive communication? Because Turner just gets a wide open dunk.
Might have been a game plan thing where they, I mean, this is very early in the game still. So
Could be.
They might have entered and been like, all right, we're going to switch all these off ball actions or whatever it is to make sure that we're not getting beat. Because, like, okay, if Jalen sticks with Halliburton.
Ironic. I need to take a quick break in the action here to talk to you guys about Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. If you are familiar with the channel, How About Them Celtics, you know that Sam and I use Prize Picks on the pregame show all the time. Going into Celtics games, we love picking the more on Jason Tatum points, the more on Derek White blocks, the more on Peyton Pritchard, everything this season, and the more on opposing player turnovers. That's the fun one for us. Make your holidays bigger and brighter with Prize Picks, the best place to get real money action while watching your favorite sports. Join now because this holiday season, Prize Picks is giving away 2 free picks in December, and they're giving away $30+ million in rewards during Picksmas. Prize Picks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday. Each Tuesday, Prize Picks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value for your lineups. And you can now win up to 1,000 extra money on Prize Picks. Let me rephrase that for you guys. 1,000 extra money on Prize Picks. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game.
If Jalen sticks with Halliburton here, he's going to end up being way behind, and he's going to inevitably be underneath a Turner screen. Like, watch this.
I don't think he would have been way behind.
No, he would be. He's completely eclipsed here. He's behind not only Halliburton, like in the chase, but he's going to end up being beat by a lot as Turner steps in. Now it's up to Tatum to switch it, but the real point is, my guess is they wanted to switch everything here, even the ghost stuff.
Yeah,
and
sure.
That's why he pushes Hauser, because he's like, this is the game plan, this is what we're doing. Then he's just Tatum and Hauser don't really do that. It's not what happened.
That's why I'm confused, because Tatum and Hauser didn't. And also, listen. If this is a game plan, it's a game plan. It's a fucking stupid game plan, in my opinion. And maybe it's Hauser didn't react to the game plan fast enough, because if he reacts to the game plan fast enough, he just didn't see Halliburton in time running around this screen
direction. He would have no way of knowing.
He just didn't see it in time. So maybe he needs to acknowledge that sooner and get level with Halliburton so he's not off balance here. But then Tatum and Brown are in a point where they're literally just kind of like ping-ponging Hauser back and forth, expecting him to do that. And if that's the game plan, that's the game plan. But that puts Hauser in a really, really tough position. If he is supposed to switch both of these, that means he has to switch off of his original matchup, sprint after Halliburton, but then also realize as he's trying to catch up to Halliburton to switch off of Halliburton and onto Turner. You know what I'm saying? Like that is a tough game plan to execute in real time. And then after he gets beat, clearly, Jaylen Brown sees their beat and he doesn't guard Turner. It is just bad execution, bad focus. I don't understand why. It does look like this is a game plan thing, because Jaylen Brown doesn't even try to run after Halliburton. As soon as he sees Halliburton running, he's like, Hauser, go, you get him here. And Hauser doesn't react fast enough. But then it does look, and then I guess they are just switching everything here, but then there's no reaction in time because Hauser's in the mixer now, because he's already
in Jakob Poeltl mode. Look at
he's cooked. Yeah, he's cooked. He's
doing
done.
the twirl.
But then they don't help here. Like, realistically, Jaylen Brown should have just jumped down to Turner, and Hauser should have gone to Mathurin, but
he should have said go corner. His mouth still works. Like, everybody sucks here. Everybody is at fault, probably except for Tatum.
This is probably Hauser's fault. Yes, this is probably Hauser's fault.
I'm sticking to my guess. I think their plan was to switch everything, which is why Jalen's arm immediately goes out saying, hey, go, go, go. And then he pushes him. And then Hauser is meant to switch onto Turner off the screen.
Yes.
but he
Yeah.
doesn't. And then Tatum obviously is committed to switching up hard on Halliburton. Jalen still
Yeah.
has a chance. This is like when you get in a car accident and they talk about who has the last chance to save the thing from happening. Jalen still had the last chance to be like, go out
Even though it
here,
probably
go
wasn't
to
his
the
fault.
corner.
Yeah. It is probably just a game plan thing, but that's still ugly. This is the next one. This is literally, I think, the first Pacer possession after the timeout. So Joe Mazzulla just called a timeout to get everyone back on track defensively, and then the Pacers run in transition, and Al Horford and Jaylen Brown both just forget that Nembhard can shoot a mid-range shot and leave him open. I don't know what Al Horford's doing here. Jaylen Brown sees Siakam. He goes, okay, I got to get out to Siakam in case he gets the pass. I don't know what Al Horford is turning to guard because there's nobody even close to him. Nembhard is his matchup. I think Nembhard's his matchup in the half court too. I think they're putting Tatum on the big and having him help off Nembhard in the paint. And so he just completely loses it and forgets to close out on Nembhard shooting a jumper. So Nembhard gets the most wide open mid-range jumper I think I've ever seen in an NBA game. And obviously he just makes it. So this is another transition mess. They lose focus. Here, Derek White is guarding Tyrese Halliburton. Actually does a okay job initially of getting around the screen, but then they're switching, and so he doesn't react in time to get back to Siakam, and so they don't switch fast enough, so they don't execute fast enough. It's just another communication thing. It just feels like they did a really bad job of executing the game plan that was put in place of we're switching everything so these guys can't get into their offense.
I'm seeing it as, all right, let's see. I mean, it's also just a good screen.
Sure.
But like
then
you said,
Derek White doesn't react to the roll fast
he
enough.
shouldn't have to go over the screen. If they're supposed to switch, he shouldn't even be going over.
Yes. But then even when he gets over, he doesn't react fast enough that he's supposed to be guarding Siakam. He like takes a beat and then he gets beat. Because if he reacted fast enough, Derek White could probably block that shot, but he didn't.
I think there's also something here where it might be a Siakam tendency to pop to the free throw line because he does a lot of great scoring from there. Like in the playoffs, he really cooked the Celtics in that area. But he's also an NBA player with a good decision-making mind. Like he's going to see the open lane. I'm not sure. I'm not an expert at this. It certainly looks very sloppy. You're muted, I think.
I am muted. Yeah, sorry. And then a couple plays before that, I was out of order briefly. Siakam has the ball top of the key. Sorry, audio listeners. I'm going to try my best to describe this, but this is a lot of, we're just looking at film. So Siakam has the ball at the top of the key. Hauser's guarding Mathurin. Siakam's going to do a little fake dribble handoff. They read it well. They're still fighting over screens, which if they're switching everything, like you said, I don't really know why that's the game plan. I get it against Halliburton. You're muted now. I get it against Halliburton because you don't want him to shoot. So Tatum fights over the screen, and then Al Horford just doesn't get to it fast enough.
That wasn't
Tatum does a pretty good. It's not that bad, but like if we're fighting over screens, fight over the screen, and if we're switching, switch it. He doesn't switch up. Like he dips back into the paint. I guess they're scared of the drive at that point, and he gets a late contest. And maybe you're okay with giving up that shot, so maybe that's part of the game plan. But still,
they might be switching off ball only.
Okay, sure, yeah. There's a lot more from that Pacers game, but I didn't want to drone on. I mean, we've been going for 23 minutes already, so there's that. But this is the Philly game. We can go into now. I want to start from the beginning of the Philly game. 1 sec. Let me find the first clip here. Okay. I think this is the first clip I got from the Philly game. Yeah, here we go. So first clip I have from the Philly game. It's 5-6, 10 minutes. Sixers are in transition a little bit. Joel Embiid has the ball. Tatum is guarding him. Derek White on Paul George, and they just get lost in transition. So this is just this is a lot of how the Sixers defense or the Celtics defense against the Sixers was a problem. It was them getting lost in transition, the Sixers playing fast, and them kind of scrambling. They spread the floor. Kristaps Porzingis takes the guy going to the paint. The problem is there are 3 Celtics guarding 2 Sixers players currently. Embiid and Oubre are on the wing. Horford, Brown, and Tatum are all guarding them. Horford is presumably there because his matchup is Embiid, but Tatum and Brown pick up Embiid and Oubre in transition. So Horford is left scanning the floor to find the open guy. Unfortunately, the open guy is fucking Tyrese Maxey. So he is open in the corner. Paul George finds him. Al Horford is scrambling, closes out, and then Maxey's just quick enough to get a shot up. And I mean, Horford has an okay late contest, but this is just bad transition communication on defense because Tatum and Horford at this point, or Tatum and Brown at this point, have to be screaming, Horford, go, like go, find your guy, because there are 3 Celtics guarding 2 Sixers guys in transition, and that's a problem that needs to be solved in real time very fast.
I wonder. I don't think there's any like excuse for this. I don't think this is a game plan thing. I think it is just being out of order in transition.
And it happens. It does, but it can't happen over and over and over again, which is the problem.
I suppose. Yeah, I don't really have a solution to this. Like, to be like, well, in a perfect world, Porzingis could have like communicated, "Hey, Martin going right. I have Maxey," but like, I don't really know if they want Porzingis on Maxey. So
This still frame on the YouTube video is where the problem needs to be solved. Derek White and Kristaps Porzingis were already back. They're the furthest back on the floor. Derek White should run over, pick up Maxey. Kristaps can pick up Caleb Martin or Paul George fine. Tatum sees what is happening. His eyes are swiveled to the right side of the floor, or his right. He needs to yell, Horford, get Oubre. Like, Horford and Brown should pick up Oubre and Embiid here, because Horford is Embiid's matchup, and Brown should.
they could have Jalen just shade back to Oubre, and Tatum sprints to pick up one of these.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Exactly what I'm saying. Tatum needs to sprint over, pick up Paul George, and then it is solved. Instead, he swivels back and just goes to the ball. Inexplicably so, might I add. I don't really know what Tatum was thinking here. He sees, maybe he thinks Horford is going to go guard Paul George down there, so he just goes to the ball. But like, he just kind of casually sees what's happening, then goes, okay, I'll go guard the ball.
Well, I suppose, put it back to the beginning. At this point, it is 3-on-3 from the close baseline to midcourt. Derek, Porzingis, and Al are all in that side of the floor. Tatum and Brown are on the far side.
Sure.
Or, I mean, technically Tatum is on the closer side, but he's not back yet, and it's easier for him to relocate. I suppose that could be the thing that is being misconstrued here, the misunderstanding. But to be honest with you, another thing that I think could be happening is Tatum and Brown trying to get a quick trap on Embiid in that back corner of the front court, like right there. But they don't.
Brown's
do
not trapping. Yeah, Brown's not trapping. So maybe Tatum thinks he's gonna. But this whole play, Horford's like, okay, I got Embiid. That's my matchup. And they're letting Embiid shoot this game, by the way. Their game plan is, okay, Embiid can be a shooter. He can be a jump shooter. We're just not gonna let him score in the post. And that's why Horford is backed up where he is. I don't know why Tatum, like, maybe he was thinking him and Brown were going to trap, but that doesn't happen. And so then they're screwed. And so it's a lack of communication at that point. And Horford is left to in the dust, effectively. Then there's this possession, which, I'm sorry, Hauser. It's your time again. It's your time on the big screen, Sammy Hauser.
Oh no.
So Porzingis guarding the drive here against Kyle Lowry does a pretty good job. Sam Hauser gets lost, and it's an easy bucket. He just all it is, just not paying attention, watching the ball, loses Gershon Yabusele off the ball, who just drives right past him behind and gets an open layup. That's it. That's it. It's like the Jaylen Brown one against Pacers. Just drove by him. Another lapse in focus. Back in transition, Maxey's bringing the ball up the floor. Jaylen Brown picks him up. Derek White's going to rotate over to Kyle Lowry. Porzingis is guarding Yabusele. You got Pritchard on Reggie Jackson and Hauser on Caleb Martin. Good. Okay, you're set. Yabusele sets a pretty good screen against Jaylen Brown, but then Kristaps Porzingis helps up on the screen, which, fine, I get it. But Tyrese Maxey is quicker than Kristaps Porzingis in literally every aspect of the word. So Kristaps Porzingis is just way too far up the floor on this play. And I get you want to take the 3 away from Maxey, but Brown actually does a great job of getting around what is a really, really good screen from Gershon Yabusele. And then Kristaps Porzingis is just above there is no reason he should have a foot above the 3-point line when trying to help on Maxey on a screen. because there's going to be space for Maxey to get around it if you don't guard it right. And if Kristaps Porzingis is any closer to the screener on this play, Maxey can go around him on the outside, but he is far enough away where Maxey just cuts the ball in to the inside. And it's a good dribble move by Maxey, don't get me wrong, but that's what he does. And then Derek White and everybody tries to collapse, but it's just a wide open dunk for Maxey. Like this is just a terrible way of guarding the screen. And I don't know if they are trying to hedge and recover. I don't know if they're trying to trap or switch on this, but Kristaps can't be up in that point. He's not quick enough. He's not a good enough perimeter defender to guard Tyrese Maxey at that point on the floor.
The crazy thing is this is essentially a double on Maxey, and he just gets right through it. Like,
I know. Well,
the
the
explanation is they're not really afraid of Yabusele being the scorer. Like, they would prefer that. They want to get the ball to Maxey's hands. So they're going to have, like you said, Kristaps hedge and Jalen recover. And Kristaps just simply comes far, like way too up. Like, this is not especially when you're 7'4" and you can probably contest the shot with 1 foot back on the elbow. You definitely don't need to do this.
He has one of his feet 2 feet behind the 3-point line here. Like that is an unacceptable defensive position. And then the last one I had here, and believe me, there were plenty more we can look at in the Pacers, but I don't want to bore you. And maybe we'll do more because it's been really bad. So maybe we are.
If you guys in the comments say that you want more, maybe we'll do that. But we'll see.
We're grinding through them. But this last one, Gershon Yabusele fights a screen, and this is just another. Jaylen Brown just didn't fight hard enough to get around the screen. This is not a good screen from Yabusele. It's fine, and he's a big body. Jaylen Brown gets around it and is with Maxey stride for stride, but then he just doesn't keep sprinting. He's just kind of like jogging along with Maxey when he probably should have just sprinted to get there. And then they kick out to Yabusele because nobody reacts. And maybe this is the game plan, let him shoot. But I don't know, man. I understand where Joe Mazzulla is coming from. Let other guys beat you. Don't let them score. It feels like Jaylen Brown could have just stuck with Maxey. I get they're putting him in a tough position, but then they get to this point, and then I don't know. It was probably the game plan. I don't like that game plan. And I said that when they did it with Caleb Martin later in this game. Anyways, a lot of miscommunications, a lot of lack of executing the game plan they put in place. Transition defense was a little bit lacking against Pacers, some laps and focuses here and there. Against the Sixers. Pacers was a lot of not guarding pick and rolls well, not communicating, not executing what we presume was the game plan. But anyways, any final thoughts on the defense before we go to the next thing? Because we talked about that for a while, but I think deservedly so because it's been really bad.
Feels like screens are their kryptonite. Just from what we've seen. You throw a screen at the Celtics, they do not know what to do with that.
Yeah, screen navigation has been rough, but I need to tell you guys about Game Time. So for all your ticketing needs, you need to make sure to be using Game Time. I'm going to pull it up here so we can go over some of the best deals possible
Pull it up.
you can find coming up today. Obviously, you've got Celtics games. If you want to hit up some Celtics games, you can go there. If you want to see the Fever play the Connecticut Sun, because they're going to be there at TD Garden this upcoming season. So Caitlin Clark's going to be in Boston for those of you who want to go check that out. But let's just check out the Indiana Pacers game tomorrow or today as you're listening to this. Actually, let's go even further into the future. Let's find a game that we can go out to. Let's look at this Magic. The Magic are coming to Boston. Obviously, the Magic got the best of the Celtics the last time these two teams scored off. So Celtics gonna be looking for a little bit of revenge when they go to this one. The best part about Game Time, or at least my favorite part about Game Time, is that you can click on a seat and see what your view is. So you look at this one right here and you get a clear view of what you're going to be seeing from your seat. You look all the way up here and you can see, again, a clear view of what you're gonna be seeing. But then they have these little symbols next. So fire symbol, cheapest ticket. So this is the cheapest one you can possibly get to this Magic game. You see stars over here. Found a great deal. It tells you the great deal. And the best part on top of that is it tells you the exact price you're going to be paying for that ticket, including fees. So you're not going to these other websites where they'll tell you the price and then you get to check out and you're like, wait, why is it $100 more expensive? Oh, that's because they added the fees. That's not how Game Time does it. So I love that a lot. That's all in pricing. Again, you got the seat, views, lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference too. So you definitely know you're getting the best deal possible. It is the best way, and I say that as a guy who has used Game Time in the past to buy
my
tickets.
parents' Christmas gifts with it.
Exactly. This is what I used
Yeah.
all throughout college, and ever since then as well. So download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time. Next thing, Mark Stein of the Stein Line recently put out a report. It was during the game last night. The Celtics are one of the few teams interested in Lonnie Walker, who's been playing with Zalgiris in Lithuania. Potential suitors are supposedly said to include Sixers, Wolves, Heat, Nuggets, and Celtics. Stein said that people are drawing interest in buying him out of his contract because there is an NBA buyout clause. But those are the teams interested. The Celtics are one of them. That is the news.
This news could not have come at a worse time. Because the Celtics have been not good. They've been skidding. It feels like they could use something to rejuvenize them, and that rejuvenization needs to come on the defensive end, by the way. But at the same time, when Sam Hauser is the person in question for a lot of these discussions where it's like he's on the floor and the defense isn't good enough, having somebody like a Lonnie Walker that you could throw out there for a different look. By the way, Lonnie Walker is not like this all-world defender by any means. Make no mistake, that's not what I'm
I
trying
don't think
to
he's a
tell
very
you.
good defender at all. I think he's a really bad defender, actually.
But what I'm saying is they have another option. Even perhaps saying that they have somebody just to challenge him, Hauser, or to throw in there if he can't go is helpful. And I know they have other guys on this team, but they just aren't really complete enough offensively to give you that same kind of punch. I know you disagree.
Yeah, I'm out on Lonnie Walker. I was out on Lonnie Walker when they brought him in originally. I'm still out on him now. I don't think he's a good fit on this team. I think he's a bad defender. I don't think he's good at executing coverages. I think he's a bad all-ball defender. I remember watching the one preseason game where I forget how many points he put up, and he has some good flashes of energy, but like Drew Peterson was a better defender than him in the games that he played. It's just, he doesn't really have it there. I think he's too much of a hot hand shooter, hot hand scorer to be a really effective piece within this offense. And I mean, hell, if your solution is, oh yeah, give Lonnie Walker some touches, let him get hot, I don't think that's going to be a very great basketball team. I don't think the Celtics offense is the problem either. Like, I think they're playing fine enough offensively, and I know they didn't shoot the ball well against the Pacers. I say it once, said it again. They put up 114 points. You should win the game. That's not the problem. The problem is you didn't defend well enough. You gave up 123. That's bad. I don't think Lonnie Walker's going to help you much there.
I think Lonnie helps them in other games, though. Like, this is more than just a one-day problem. Like, they've had moments where Hauser comes in the game and he gives them nothing offensively. Like, even if you want to roll with somebody like Jordan Walsh off the bench, which I'm not disputing is a good idea to give him more run. Joe Mazzulla may not feel that way. He's talked about Jordan Walsh after the game yesterday. It was just that. Can we talk about that for a second? The way he was just like completely like rejectful of the notion that
I think
he
he's
would
just mad.
ever play him. I mean, that was so weird, though. Like,
Hey,
all
I
right,
think
for those of you that didn't see it before we start really talking about it, post-game press conference, like a lot of questions about the defense, a lot of questions about like things that you think would piss a coach off, by the way. Like, hey, you guys suck. Like, what's wrong? Is essentially all of what is being asked to Joe. And then Noah's like, hey, Jordan Walsh has played 2 games in a row. He looked really good the other day, looked solid again today. Like, what do you think? And he was like, listen, he's not playing. Like, 2 guys are hurt. Like, don't get excited. And
I don't
it
think
was
he said that. I think he just said guys were
Pull it
hurt,
up.
so he was given opportunities.
Pull it up.
Okay.
It was like
I can pull it up. I mean, it was notable enough because it definitely wasn't a regular response. Maybe it was a regular Joe response, but it was definitely more aggressive than you might want. Was it at
in
the
the
end?
moment, it was like having a layup get swatted into the 5th row. And again, frustration will do that to you.
Okay, here we go. Let me pull it up.
Extended minutes. Is it something about this matchup that you like for him? Is it just the defensive energy and kind of growth that he's shown to you? What are you seeing out of him?
I mean, I like Jordan a lot, but we were down 2 players. So I would say it's our health has presented that opportunity, and he's done a good job at it. I mean, but I would say the main reason is we've been down 2 guys, and But he's played well.
The audio's not.
He's earned that,
Yeah,
and
weird.
he'll continue to get cracks at it.
He did just like snap back. It was very odd.
It was uncharacteristic. Like, he's usually pretty, even if he's very cold, he's usually pretty calm and like laid back in the response, even if he's saying like
Yeah. He
sharp
snapped.
things back at you. But listen, if you lose a game the way they lost, it was clear that he was pissed with the team as it is, because one of the things he said when he was asked about, did Friday feel like it was going to be a change of the way things are going? He was like, nope, India was hurt on Friday and Nemhard didn't play. And they're on the second night of a back-to-back. We're ass. We're butt ass. Shout out to Turp. And
Yeah.
like, that's just the kind of night it was for him. He was frustrated, clearly. He had the subs ready to come in the game with like 3.5 minutes
Yeah.
left to play,
Yeah, it was weird. I mean, I would play Jordan Walsh more over Sam Hauser at this point because I think the defense is more of the problem than the offense. And circling back to Lonnie Walker, which is weirdly where all of this stemmed from, like, I get it. And when you say you could have used him in other games, are you referencing that Magic game where they were cold and they couldn't find offense, or just in general?
Just in general, if Hauser doesn't have it going, and like, I still think you need somebody to be able to come off the bench and be a catch and shoot person. Even if Walker isn't built to be that consistently, there is a chance that he could become more comfortable with that as a member of this team.
Maybe, and I get it. I'd rather just give Jordan Walsh those opportunities. I'd rather just give Drew Peterson those opportunities. I'd rather just let Pritchard take on a larger role. I'd rather try Baylor Shireman. Like, I'm not against Lonnie Walker as an NBA player, but adding him to a team where you have enough young wings that you could develop into better players, I don't really see the need to elevate a guy or to bring in another guy. I guess maybe he's a bit more NBA ready and you'd rather that, but I don't think he's a good enough defender to help solve the issues on that end. So that's why I'm really in on Jordan Walsh, because for as bad as the Celtics were on defense on Sunday against Pacers, Jordan Walsh was a motherfucker. He did a great job. He was great, pressing up against screens. That dude can navigate a screen. He can get around them. I know I'm not going to be in the majority with the Lonnie Walker thing, but I'm not about it. I'm not a fan. I think he's a fine player. I don't think he's the best fit on the Celtics. I don't think it's worth bringing him in and playing him minutes over Jordan Walsh.
Why do you think the front office is so interested in him then? Because they were interested in him at the deadline. They were obviously interested enough to bring him in for the preseason. Whether or not they kept him is a different story. But
He's a good player.
One more
He's a good player. He's a good player, and I get why they're interested, because he's an NBA level player and he probably should be on a team. He can score the ball. I don't know. I don't like the fit, and there's a reason I'm not in a front office, right? Like, there's a reason I am not in Brad Stevens' position, making the decisions that he has to make and deciding whether or not to bring in Lonnie Walker. I don't like the fit that much. He's 25, 26. I'd rather just play 21-year-old Jordan Walsh or 20-year-old Jordan Walsh, who is giving you really, really good effective NBA minutes right now, and has shown progress with his 3-point shot. I'd rather play Drew Peterson, who probably a bit more comfortable off the ball. I think has better defensive instincts than Lonnie Walker, even though Lonnie Walker is more the athletic talent. I'd rather play Baylor Shireman's a bit less NBA ready, so I don't want to go to him yet. But I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of Lonnie Walker's game as a fit for this Celtics team. And if I'm wrong. Maybe they've seen more about his fit off the ball behind the scenes, because obviously I haven't. But I mean, even in the preseason, after he had his good games, like, those came off of when he had really bad games. So you saw the inconsistency in a smaller
The
role.
good games also came when it was like, here you go. Go ahead.
Yeah, here you can be one of the top scoring options. So I don't know. It's just, I don't like the fit, and people don't have to like that, but I'm just not a fan.
The Lonnie Walker people are just sitting there right now being like, you seen what's happening with this team right now? If they had him, they'd be undefeated.
They can be mad at me all they want. Next thing, Sam, your home whites conspiracy theory is gone to shit. It's dead.
Well, it's gone to shit because they just can't win at home. They're not very good at home this year. They've already lost 6 games at home. They lost 4 all of last season. So that has something to do with it. And then, so before I start actually talking about this, I should probably say what we're actually talking about. So Sean Grandy came out last night and tweeted about interesting stat. He tweets, it's not just home court that's abandoned the Celtics, 37-4 last year, 12-6 so far this year. It's the home whites. 24-25 Celtics, white uniform 6-6, all other uniforms 17-3. So Celtics, I think, have only lost 3 games at home wearing white, which is still more than they lost last year. Probably shouldn't wear them when they're not at home. I'm not for wearing them in any game that's not at TD Garden, actually. So, I mean, I'm only half on the hot seat here, but the real point is the Celtics have not been good at home, and that to me is concerning. I complained endlessly about it after they lost both the game 2s in the playoffs, which turned out to mean absolutely nothing, but I really don't like seeing them have games here and not really capitalize on it. Like, realistically, the Philly game on Christmas is not a game you should lose at home. You had all the momentum. You failed. You had defensive lapses cost you the game. That Maxey out of bounds layup is just going to sit and haunt people until they do something to really amaze everyone again. That can't happen. You have all the buzz. You have everything. Winning at home is important. There's a reason why the top seed in each conference gets home court through the playoffs, and the reason why that's important. They got to figure it out. It's not good, and it's honestly a characteristic of a team that is not at the same level as they were last year.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more their overall play rather than just at home. I get that that's something people are going to focus on because, well, I mean, you should be winning more at home, but they haven't been good in general, and I think that's a bigger part of it. Like, if you're not good in general, you're not going to be good at home generally. So, I don't know. I think it's just a rough stretch for them, and they'll figure it out. But the defense needs to be better, and that's the 1A that in my books at least. This needs to be better before anything else will be fixed. And the defense has been bad, and once they fix that, maybe things will follow. All right. Let's jump on over to the email here. Reminder, as always, you guys can email us at hbtcpod@gmail.com, hbtcpod@gmail.com. First up, we have an email from, sorry, I have to open it here. Pete. This is the punishment if we don't reach a like goal. So I'm going to leave that, actually. I'm going to leave this as mark as unread. From C. Dombowski. Hello, guys. Maybe you can explain why Boston has to shoot 50 to 60 3-pointers every game. I mean, when I watch everyone for Boston that is on the court just stands out by the 3-point line and there's nobody to rebound the miss. And when they only shoot 35% from 3, they lose. And they are so inconsistent. I just don't get it. Maybe you can explain it to me because I don't understand. Happy holidays. Chuck Dombowski. It's just math. I think the more threes they take, the more threes they make, even if they shoot a worse percentage, giving them a pretty inherent 3-point advantage. And I think the Celtics have outscored teams from 3 in almost every game this year, at least almost all the wins. And I think most of the losses too. Most of the time it is just the defense isn't good enough. And I think that's why people are going to turn on the threes because they're taking more threes. So that's the problem. But if you look at all these games, like let me pull this up. So what's the Celtics record this year, Sam?
They are 23-9.
Okay. 23-9. So they have shot above 40% from 3 in I have to filter just Celtics games too. I was like, why are there so many games here? They've shot above 40% from 3 in 10 games this year, and they've lost 2 of them. So immediately 2 of their 9 losses have been when they shot really, really well from 3. So that should be a red flag of, okay, maybe the threes aren't the biggest problem, right? And this isn't me going at Chuck. I wholly understand. I'm just trying to explain why I contextualize it this way. Those games were Philly, where they played really bad defense, and the Atlanta game, where they played really bad defense. It just let Atlanta run to
Turning
the
the
rim.
ball over a lot, too.
Yes. They've shot at least 35% in 17 of their games, and those have also included some losses, one of which was the Atlanta loss again, but also the Golden State Warriors loss. Let me check what the score of that game was. Celtics Warriors, they lost 118 to 112. You put up 112 points, you probably should be able to do okay. The Warriors shot 40% from 3 and 46% from the field. Not amazing, right? Like 118 is a lot of points to give up in a game. And the Celtics can get to that point, but still, like, I'm not going to sit there and say, okay, they made 5 more threes in the Warriors and they lost the game.
But there's also a part of this where the Celtics do a pretty decent job at offensive rebounding for a team that doesn't have guys in the paint. They do a great job of corner crashing and it enables them to try and get second opportunities, second possessions, while also heading in the direction to get back on defense, which they need to be much better at. Transition defense has just not been good this year. With that being said, there's also something to, if they are shooting a lot of threes, the offensive rebounds will not come in the paint. They will come on longer misses. So that's another reason why they don't have a ton of people down low. Again, I don't really think they need to be sending a billion guys at the offensive glass because, well, they need to get back in transition. That should be their number one thing.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. And like the Warriors game, sorry, I was just trying to look at the stats here. The Warriors had 52 points in the paint when they beat the Celtics. 52 points in the paint to the Celtics 36. So maybe you shouldn't give up 52 points in the paint. Like maybe that's a problem as well. Like, and then looking at some other games, when the Celtics shoot worse than 35% from the three, they do lose a lot of games, obviously. The Indiana game, though, they put up 114 points still, and they lost. The Orlando game was a game where the offense was the problem. 100% was the problem. They couldn't make enough shots, and that's tough. And those losses happened. They happened last year, too, when the Celtics won 64 games. Like, that is the math game you're playing. They won 80-ish% of their games in the year they won the title, and that's around the clip they should be winning if they are shooting this many threes and taking a high volume of three. The problem is the defense hasn't been good enough to tide over when they have these average 3-point nights. When they shoot 35-ish% or X whatever percent, and they still make a bunch of threes, you got to have the defense still to hold it over, and that hasn't happened. So the Orlando game was a bit of an exception. They played solid defense, but the shots weren't going down. They also, weirdly enough, in that game didn't take enough threes. They only took 33. Like, I think not taking enough threes was the problem in that game, ironically. And then the Memphis game, they shot 30% from three and they took 60, but they scored 121 points. You score 121, you should probably win the game.
They couldn't get a stop at the end of that game.
Uh-huh.
They just ran out of
Exactly.
legs.
Jaren Jackson killed them. The Chicago game, they put up 108, which is less than ideal when they lost to the Bulls. What was the final score in that game? The Bulls put up 117, which not ideal.
I truly think one of the other big problems is they just are getting knocked off their mindset too easily. There's been a lot of games this year where they just are frustrated, whether it's by pest players. Like last night, Ben Shepherd clearly was getting to Tatum towards the end of the game. And there have been other instances where guys are playing physical with them and they're not getting the calls they want. And then they start getting upset and the lapses happen because they're too busy worrying about that. And as cliche as it sounds, It's the real thing with this team. It's been such a real thing that guys are at the podium after the game, like repeatedly complaining about the officials. And sometimes it makes a lot of sense. I think the game where Joe got the technical against Chicago and then they were talking about it after the game made a lot of sense because it was legitimately a story and they were being asked about it. But there are other times that it's just like they are so clearly frustrated by these things and they probably shouldn't be as frustrated. It's part of the game. Like the officials are human people too. Like they're going to make mistakes and like it doesn't mean that they shouldn't be held accountable for it, but it's like kind of a given. Like I don't think there are perfect officials. That's one of the reasons why people love to blame them.
Yeah, and these games where the Celtics didn't shoot well enough from three, and I get why it looks like the threes are the problem, Chuck, and thank you for the email. But Indiana, they shot bad from three. They literally gave up almost 70 points in the paint. Chicago, they shot bad from three. They could not stop Zach LaVine for the life of them. He was just getting to the paint whenever he wanted. The Memphis game could not stop Jaren Jackson hook shots. The Cleveland game, Donovan Mitchell was getting whatever he wanted and caught fire in the fourth quarter. And then the Indiana game earlier in the season, they scored 132 points and lost. That's not an offense problem. Like, it's just, I think their offensive game plan worked. Their defense just hasn't been consistent enough to uphold it. And they need to fix the defense. I don't think the threes are the problem. I think it's the defense. So,
yeah. I think not having Kristaps is a pain too because
sure, but he's been bad on defense when he's been there too. I think, in my opinion.
I mean, we watched the clips.
Yeah,
it's a fact.
Okay. Next email from Philip. Complacency. Fellas, I commented this on your Monday video, but wanted to hear your feedback. The problem, we were playing a little lazy, dismissing some opponents, getting frustrated with refs and media, but at the same time, that's not the personality of Joe. Anyone off our bench, Holiday, JB White, etc. Possible answer, it's JT's personality be like this. Maybe his example of dragging his feet. is rubbing off on other guys. I know it's a hot take, but to put it all on JT, but I honestly think JT is the one person on this team who chronically rides the wave of effort and focus. I have 3 boys, and when one acts out in a negative way, the other 2 follow suit. Do you agree, or do you think there's bigger reasons than JP behind simply our slumping effort? Happy New Year ahead, Phil. I don't think it's fair to put it all on JT. I mean, in the clips we watched, JB got beat off the ball. Like, I think JB is also spacey and drifty on defense. So I think it's on both of them. I also just think the Celtics haven't been good enough as individual defenders this year, like in one-on-one scenarios or executing coverages. So I get that that's JT's attitude. I don't like, that's never been a problem in the past though. Like JT being a pretty down to earth, like even keel guy has never like translated to the Celtics are a bad defensive team. So I think saying like, oh, now it's a problem, that doesn't really make sense in my mind.
I think there's also part of this where I think Tatum actually is playing hard. I think his numbers on the glass say that. And of course, every time somebody gets asked about this, they never say that. They just say he's guarding the big men, which is true. But it's still a responsibility of his to be the guy in there, grabbing the rebounds, battling
He has
with
to
guys
fight
that are
off the
bigger
big
than
men.
him.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like that's not nothing. It's just he's able to handle that responsibility. I think the bigger problem comes with just the top of the key outside defense where guys are getting beat and then the defense is getting put into rotation because they're not keeping their man in front of them. And whether that's on Derek, it's on Drew, who hasn't played over the last couple days here. You know, it's tough, and they need to figure that out. They have a lot to figure out defensively. I don't know what it's going to take to fix that. They don't seem to know what it's going to take to fix that. The answers have been pretty like sounding like a team. It sounds a lot like 2023 where they're like, yeah, we're going to be better. And then they're better for a game. Then they come back and they're not the same. And when they're consistently giving those answers at the podium, it's usually not very good.
Well, yes, but it's usually not very good because that just means they're losing. Like it just means they're losing.
But they're
Um,
seeing the problem. They're being faced with the problem and there is no solution. That is why.
yeah, they got to be better. But I just said what they say because that is the only thing you can say. Like we just have to be better, and if they're not, it's a problem. But I don't really blame them for saying that because shit, what else are they gonna say? Like they're ass. Like that's all you can
Well, no,
say.
you have to say it, but I mean,
You have
the
to do it.
problem is
Yeah, you have to do it.
they put themselves in position to keep being asked that question.
I know. I agree. Last email is fuck off. It's like some YouTube SEO bullshit. I'm not answering. Thank you for the emails. We appreciate you very much. Let's jump over to the NBA part of the show now. Check in with the standings pretty quickly before we get into some of the other news around the league. I lost my tab. 1 sec. Okay, here we go.
All right. Background is switched. We're here. We're ready to go. Standings are not going to be fun to look at today, even though they're the same.
No.
The distance is not what it should be.
Cavaliers still atop the Eastern Conference. They've won 6 in a row. Knicks have won 7 in a row. They're only a game behind the Celtics at this point. They're playing really, really good basketball. The Magic just
Really
won. They're up to
for the Celtics to just not play basketball anymore.
Yeah, Celtics 5-5 in their last 10. Magic right there too. The Hawks have jumped back up. They're 3 games above 500 now. They've won 4 in a row. Bucks on a little 2-game slide. The Heat are down there as well, but we have 7 above 500 teams in the East, so we've definitely improved. Heat and 7, then Pacers, Bulls, Pistons, and then Sixers, Nets, Hornets, Raptors, Wizards. Standings have stayed pretty much the same in terms of the order.
Yeah, we haven't had that many days in between recordings here. So, listen, the Celtics are the only team up there that's really struggling. Milwaukee, I guess, is at that same 5-5 clip, but outside of those two, Celtics picked a real bad time to forget how to defend and win games.
Yeah, Cavs and Knicks are just hot as they've been for a lot of the season, or at least in the Cavs case. Everyone else is around or at 500, but Celtics are fighting with the Cavs and the Knicks, and they're lagging behind at the moment. So
Raptors are on double-digit loss in a row. Watch.
They are.
They're officially on watch of losing streak.
Out west, Thunder still up top, 5 games ahead of the Grizzlies now. Then you got Grizzlies, Rockets, Mavs, Lakers, Clippers. That's around the same. Nuggets, Wolves, Warriors, Spurs have jumped in to the 10 spot. The Suns are now below 500 at 15 and 16. Kings at 13 and 19. They've lost 6 in a row now. Yikes. But they still have a positive point differential. Even more yikes. And then Blazers, Jazz, Pelicans. Shocker.
OKC with that 11 straight.
Yeah, they're on fire. They're playing really good basketball.
It's going to be a real problem if the Celtics cannot get up for that game on Sunday.
Yeah, it's a big one. It's a big game. All right, let's get into some other stuff. The Lakers traded D'Angelo Russell to the Brooklyn Nets. Him, Maxwell Lewis, and 3 second-round picks in exchange for Dorian Finney-Smith and Shake Milton. Sam, thoughts?
D'Angelo Russell was signed to be traded. It's surprising that it took this long for it all to happen. I think when they signed him to that contract, they had hoped that they would get more. I think the hope was that they were going to combine him and Rui to get Kyrie. Dallas goes on this NBA Finals run. That is no longer an option. There's no reason why Dallas would want to do that. I think getting Dorian Finney-Smith makes sense for the Lakers. I don't think that they're not going to miss D'Lo. That's for sure. They're definitely not going to miss him. I don't think he's been very good this season. Nick Young, Lakers, the voice of the Lakers spokesperson Nick Young, took to Twitter about this and said, "And stay out, all caps. Don't bring your ass back to LA." And then everyone was like, the Lakers fan base rocks with D'Lo more than you.
Damn. I don't know if you've seen the Lakers on-off numbers this year, but you know D'Angelo Russell has the highest plus-minus in the team.
Oh, no.
You know what's the lowest plus-minus?
Is it LeBron?
Bet your ass.
Yes.
I'm going to double
Jack,
check,
did
but
you
I
know
saw
it's
that on
LeBron's
Twitter.
birthday today?
Happy birthday, sunshine.
Couldn't open your Twitter without seeing that it's LeBron's birthday.
It's almost like he's the most popular player in basketball. I mean, yeah, the best plus minus on the Lakers this season is, sorry, I just want to double check. Okay, well, now it's Dorian Finney-Smith. Oh, maybe I was wrong because D'Angelo Russell, he's no longer on the Lakers, so now it's not showing. He had a plus 47, so he had the highest plus minus on the Lakers, and LeBron is a minus 103, which is the worst. So, ironic, huh? D'Angelo Russell is actually, let me double check before I say anything, not a good defender. Big problem. However, okay, never mind. His efficiency has fallen off too. Yeah, never mind. I was wrong. He was shooting pretty well earlier this season, but it has dropped off a cliff. So never mind. I think it's a good trade. I think Dorian Finney-Smith will give him good wing depth. I think Shake Milton will give them some nice shooting as well if they want to play him some minutes. And then I like it for the Nets. You get 3 second-round picks for Dorian Smith. That's a win. You get D'Lo, who, for all of his faults throughout his NBA career, is kind of a cult hero in Brooklyn, like realistically. And then Maxwell Lewis is a nice enough young prospect if you're the Nets, who are just gonna pick up a bunch of young guys who you should take a chance on.
Magic had some things to say about this, Jack. He tweeted, "Laker Nation, I'm so excited about the trade for Dorian Finney-Smith. He's an excellent defender and 3-point shooter, just what the Lakers needed." He sends a second tweet about this. "Really good move by Rob Pelinka. The Lakers also acquired Shake Milton."
I hate Magic's tweets. I hate them. They're so ass. They're so annoying.
He low key just burned Shake Milton. It was like, oh yeah, he's here too.
Shake Milton's a good player. You just can't really play defense, so that's the trend of
How'd your Shake Milton article do? Yes.
Don't you?
Jack,
Don't worry.
The biggest scumbag.
Hey, whoa, calm down. Yeah, it's doing pretty okay.
I love when you have. So for those of you that don't know, Jack and all of us were sitting in the press room waiting to talk to Joe before the game yesterday, and he had written about the trade for Fansided, and he says to
that
all
article's cooking. The Lakers one I wrote about it for the Lakers too. That one's cooking.
He says to us, I was looking through the just ranks of all of the NBA Fansided articles, and I saw this guy wrote about the Sixers losing out on Finney-Smith as a trade target, and I said, time for me to get cooking. That we talked about Shake Milton on this show as a potential trade target for the Celtics, and that's cooked. And Jack's like, time for me to get in the lab.
Don't worry about it. Yeah, I like it for Lakers. I think it'll help them. I think this makes Rui Hachimura a bit more expendable if they want to trade him and Gabe Vincent's last year at Vanderbilt's contract. You know what I'm saying? They could find something there, I think.
Who doesn't want Gabe Vincent?
Well, for salary matching purposes, him and picks. Who doesn't want the Lakers picks? Everyone wants the Lakers picks. So put it that way. You'd like Lakers picks. And Richard Bird's having a great fucking season. So I think a lot of teams wouldn't mind having him on the roster. He's shooting like 45% from three.
Why would the
He's doing
Lakers
all
not
right.
want him?
Because you can find a bit more versatility, and you have Dorian Finney-Smith, so it's kind of like two of the same-ish player. And so if you want to trade Rui's contract, you can get another player who's maybe a better fit, so you don't have double 3 and D
Should the
wings.
Celtics
You have
do get Rui?
a guard. Literally
Can't
no
they?
possible way to do that. You
Can't do it?
cannot do that. Sure, yeah, we'll trade Derek White, Sam. You want to do that?
What if they traded?
Stop the sentence. Cut the shit. Next thing, the Heat and the Rockets got into a brawl.
Yes.
I'm just gonna pull up the video here. I'm
Jack
gonna
broke this news
present it without
yesterday. Was
context.
excellent.
So Tyler Hero is about to get thrown to the ground. Here's it with audio.
Hero and Amin Thompson locking up. Oh.
It's thrown to the floor. Here come both benches. And now frustration's boiling over.
I'm trying to think of something to like compare this to for the people listening on audio. If you're listening on audio, do yourself a favor and just look this up because it's one of the funniest like clips maybe ever. Just the sheer speed that Hero's shoulders go from upright to into the hardwood is something to behold.
Late tossed earlier. Thompson.
I've never seen this.
Wait, what happened? Sorry, I missed something.
Thompson locked
I think
up.
there's an ejection or something.
Ime got kicked out too.
Yeah. Ime was probably like, good job.
Ben Sullivan got ejected too, I think. Hold up. Let me hear this.
Ben Sullivan, Rockets lead assistant coach, may have been ejected. I've never seen this.
I mean, we've seen a whole lot more from the Rockets to be ejected, and
Ime and Ben Sullivan are now going to join Fred VanVleet.
They're just walking off. They got the in-arena security out there.
they seem to have embraced the chippy culture.
Look at the Rockets watching the replay on the big screen. They're loving it. Look at all of them. Jeff Green has the biggest smile on his face.
Been involved with multiple skirmishes over the last, dating back to the second half of last season on to this season.
Can you replay the throwdown, please?
I want to see who gets ejected. I want to see who they decide to eject because I haven't watched this whole clip, and I want to see. I know there were like a lot of ejections from this game, obviously, but I want to hear Mark Davis's.
After review, it has been determined that for Houston, Thompson has been ejected, as well as Green, as well as Coach Udoka, as well as Coach Sullivan. Miami, both Hero and Rozier will be ejected. Miami will shoot 2 free throws, and they will begin play with Miami on the sideline.
Hero
Here's the
Thompson
throwdown.
locking up. Oh.
It's a ragdoll. See you later. Look at Rozier. Watch Rozier go from the inbound to just jumping Thompson.
Hero and Amin Thompson locking up. Oh my goodness.
Oh my God. He got on him so quick.
And then watch the guy. I don't know who it was, but watch. So look at if you're watching on YouTube, watch the bottom right of your screen. Someone just like throws like a paper cup into the mess, like just takes it like, yeah. Watch this. Watch
Hero
this paper
and
cup
Amin
go flying.
Thompson locking up. Oh my goodness.
It's thrown to the floor. Here come both benches. And now
Someone just throws something.
They don't call the fans the 6th man for nothing.
Hold up. I know Van Vliet got ejected earlier in this game as well, and I want to see what it was for because I saw someone be like, "This was a really weak ejection." And really
Accidentally
lame.
bumping into Mark Davis is what it says.
Oh God, yeah, they bumped him.
By Van Vliet to Mark.
I don't think he meant to.
Oh, the inadvertent bump by Van Vliet to Mark Davis.
He was just trying to
man.
follow him. Mark Davis,
Yeah,
a young Fred VanVleet.
Yeah, so Van Vliet's trying to inbound the ball, and they called him for 5 seconds, but he called timeout, and he's trying to talk to Mark Davis about it.
He looks like he's saying my fault. Maybe not.
And then he said, "I called timeout," and then he just kicks him out because he bumped into him.
Mark Davis is never losing.
That's crazy.
A dog.
That's a crazy jet. You got to give him a tech. Direct ejection. Man,
Mark
what a
Davis
crazy
is
game.
not talked about enough as one of the referees that is a real issue. Like, people always love to talk about Scott Foster and Tony Brothers, but anytime I see Mark Davis in a game, it's never fun. Or it's like the most fun, like this game was. But there's always some nonsense. Like the Van Vliet thing was stupid.
Yeah, that was dumb. Last
After the
NBA
game,
thing. Oh,
sorry. After the game, Ime was asked about this. He says they were in each other's faces, bumping chests a little bit. One guy is stronger than the other.
damn right. You
After the
hear
game,
here. Oh, okay.
Tyler Hero was asked about this. Guess that's what happens when someone's scoring, throwing dimes, doing the whole thing. I'd get mad too.
Mhm.
Great
That's
troll
fun.
answer. I don't like the guy. Hilarious answer. He handled it the
Agree.
best way he could have handled it.
Great response. 100%. All right. Last NBA thing. Some more trade rumors floating around the NBA. Starting with Cam Johnson from Mark Stein. The Nets are now said to be seeking multiple first-round picks from teams interested in trading for sharpshooter Cam Johnson. Can they really expect to get more than one first-rounder for Johnson after deals we just witnessed for Schroeder and Finney-Smith? I think it's probably one first that'll end up being, but Cam Johnson's having a phenomenal season, so I get why they have a high asking price.
Yeah, and a lot of good teams could use him. Celtics could use him.
Yes.
Afford him.
Mm-hmm. It's true. And then also from Stein, other veterans believed to be available for second-round draft compensation include Jonas Valanciunas and Brogdon, Kelly Olynyk and Bruce Brown, and then Utah's Jordan Clarkson. So
What's really not fun is they all make too much money.
Celtics aren't doing anything. they're cooked. They're not going to make any moves. We got to get used to that. Anyways, Sam Ratless, what do you got?
Ratless is LeBron for turning 40 because we already hear enough on the broadcast about how old LeBron is and how unbelievable it is that he's still playing basketball. And now I can't even go on. It's like when I complain about when Kendrick comes out with new music and everybody has to tweet about how Kendrick came out with new music. I can't go on the timeline today without seeing like LeBron this, LeBron that. Like, cool, man.
Yeah, sure.
It's really Ratless to everybody handling LeBron's birthday.
Sure.
But nonetheless.
Hate to make you fight that battle alone, but I simply have no care for LeBron. I don't care. Good for him. Cool. LeBron's cool. I'm not Terp. I'm not you. I'll sit firmly in the middle of you two.
See, Terp is so over the top that it's funny.
Okay, sure. Ratless, this lady that was at the crosswalk. So I was walking from, I hadn't done my steps like a couple days ago. So I walked from like my apartment to a bar in like downtown. So I was like walking effectively almost all the way to the garden, but a little shorter. And I was like walking like a warehouse, I think it was what it was called. But I was at Park Street East Station. So I was by Boston Common and I was about to go across a crosswalk. And I was walking just like not fast enough to make it. So I was like, damn, whatever. I'll wait for the next one. It's fine. I'll just wait at the crosswalk. So I sit there, it's counting down. Like I see 3, 2, 1, and I'm still like, I would have had to like sprint. And I'm like, I'm not sprinting. I'm not in a rush. I'm just gonna wait here. Get there, get the big hand signal at the crosswalk. I'm like, fuck, I'll wait. Light turns green. Lady comes from the sidewalk next to me, proceeds to go into the crosswalk, put her hand up to stop the cars and walk through when they have a green light.
Oh no.
It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. And it wasn't like she's barely catching the light. It wasn't like, shoot, sorry, I'm like hustling along because I missed it a little, but I'm gonna get there. It wasn't like it was a fully pedestrian stop. They have a full green light and she walks and literally like the cars were about to go, like starting to roll forward, and she puts her hand up and stops them and goes like, halt. Like she, like the Gandalf, you shall not pass, like puts her hand up and stops the cars. And she doesn't even like jog. She just like walks leisurely.
Yeah. No hustle.
I was like, how did she, I was surprised she didn't get run over. It was bad.
Well, that's a problem. Like there is no other way to keep somebody like that in check other than like literally like running them over, which you shouldn't do. I wish there was a healthy alternative to like, I don't know, give them like a love tap or something where they could be like, oh yes, I was wrong. You're right. pedestrians have too much power. I've said it forever. There's nothing you can do to dispute them because they're exponentially weaker than the car. They will never win. And because of that, it's too dangerous to do it. I mean, listen, you shouldn't be driving reckless ever. I'm being sarcastic, but it's true that they just have like all the power. There's nothing you can do against pedestrian, even if they are the dumbest of the dumb.
Yeah, it's bad. I try to abide. See, my problem is now I'm too nice as a pedestrian because like people will be turning right into something and I have the right of way or I am going through
Yes.
something and I'll be like, go, but then they're like, no, you go. So then we get into the thing of like, okay, now I'm just wasting your time by trying to be nice. So I just need to just walk. I just need to walk and you will wait because then it'll save us both time in the long run. Like that's just got to be how it
Big
is.
go
But
around the back guy.
yeah.
But
Well, no,
in the
it's
turn right situation, it's a little different.
yeah, I can't go around the back of the car because they're turning into where I am walking, which is tough. Anyways, yeah, this lady was next level. What the fuck are we doing?
Rat list is my windshield last night. So you know how this first and foremost, for those of you that are not in the Northeast, this has been a really strange weather week. We all had snow last week and it was freezing out. And this week it was like literally yesterday on my drive home, it was 50 degrees outside.
It's 50 right now.
It's 50 right now. It's very nice. Can't complain,
Hate
except for
it.
right now. You don't like the 50-degree weather? Why?
No, I want it to be cold. I want to wear my jacket. I want to be nice and I want to go wear my winter clothes.
Really? You don't like? Huh. All right, whatever. Let me tell the story. We can revisit this.
Sure.
Okay. But anyways, when the weather is like inconsistent like this, like fog happens. There's a ton of fog yesterday. I'm actually a fan of the fog. I think it looks cool. It's cool. And I'm driving home. Another problem with all of this is your windows will fog because the temperature in your car is too warm compared to what it is outside, or vice versa. And I'm like going all the way home. I got my defrosters blasting, trying to clean the window. I don't know what it is. The thing will not completely unfog. Like it's serviceable. Like I'm able to drive, but like when there are lights on, like the light like expands. You know what I'm talking about? Like when it gets caught in like the water and it like becomes way brighter and it kind of blinds you. Like I was dealing with that the whole way home. I had to turn on the windshield wipers and like use the wiper fluid to fix it. I don't know what actually the problem was, but I was like probably like 15 minutes from my house when I discovered that, and I was like, "What the fuck, man?" I just like was fighting for my life the whole way home, and I could have just did this an hour ago.
Yeah, it's tough. I will say I was on the bridge yesterday morning going to up by New Hampshire to see some family, and the fog like encapsulated everything around, so I literally could not see anything off the bridge or like
It's kind of cool.
some feet in front of me. Terrifying, not cool. Not fun. It was scary. I was like, oh shit, this is weird. So that was bad. Rat list. I'm gonna rat list pedestrians again, but for a different reason, not for their interaction with cars. It is the people who are in groups who think that they can just take up the entire sidewalk. And it is the people who listen. I was gonna be a teacher for a while. I worked at summer camps. I enjoy like working with kids. I think it's fun. Control your children, you fucking dickheads. For these parents, just let their kids walk wherever the fuck they want, do whatever the fuck they want. And it's insane to me. Like they'll be getting their kids out of the car and it'll be like one kid. They have one kid. You have one person to keep. Like if you have like 3-4 kids and you're one person, I get it. Like shit happens. It's tough. Like you got to corral everything. This person had one child and he was like, this dad was like on his phone and his kid was just like wandering into the sidewalk. I'm like, dude, I'm walking here and I don't want to be the weirdo like trying to like walk around a child, but like this kid's just like fucking running around playing in the sidewalk where people are actively trying to walk, like control him. And then I'm walking past this like department store building and these groups of people are like walking out of the store with all their stuff, like leisurely, like, oh yeah, look, I got this. Like, and then there's other people by the crosswalk, a group of like 10 waiting to cross, all like spread out in a circle. I literally had to like dead stop. I'm like, excuse me, like I have to walk. Like, can you like move? Get the fuck like make space on the sidewalk. It's not a side stop. Like, get the fuck out of the way.
Get to step.
And I was in the bathroom last night at the garden, and I'm like trying to get back to watch the game. I wash my hands and I go to like grab paper towel. This kid is playing with the paper towel machine like it's a game. He's he's on his 6th one. I'm like, I just left. I'm like, I'm just gonna wipe it on my face. I gotta go. Like I was getting so fucking mad. This fucking asshole child just like beep beep.
You should have
I'm
asked
like,
him if you could have one. You could have like made him feel like he was like doing a job.
I should have punted.
They love
him.
that.
That's what I should have done.
You could have got some real
Jesus,
air
man.
off the 9th floor if you gave him a good punt.
So annoying.
With people with kids that think everyone loves their kids. That's a real
yeah.
And
Sure.
you're supposed to think everything's cute, and it's not. Same goes for those with dogs.
And I like kids. Like I was gonna be a teacher. Like there's just a line. There's a line. And
yeah, like I don't mind kids either. It's just like when the kid is out of control. The best is when the parents have no control over the kid, and they're like, "Dylan, stop it, Dylan," and he's like spinning around doing whatever he wants to do or whatever they're telling him to stop. They're like, "Dylan," they just keep saying it like they don't do anything. That is always a great spectacle to watch.
I like Dylan being the.
And you have to like smile at him. You have to like,
one.
oh no, it's ha 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 ha. Like,
Yeah.
all right. I'm out of things.
I don't got anything else either. That can be it. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe here on YouTube. Make sure to follow us on Spotify and Apple and all that good stuff. And I'll let Sam wrap it up.
Yeah, thank you very much for watching. If you did today, probably no one did because they lost. That's usually how it goes. But if you did, subscribe, leave a like, comment, tell us what you think of the current struggles. If you like the film stuff, tell us. We can always do more of that. It's easier to do it when they're not playing well because there are things to be like, this was a problem. But hit the bell. We're here every single day. New stuff drops every morning. Full pods drop Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. Game recaps are up the morning after each game. And other videos on the channel are up in between to keep you up to date with all things Celtics. You can find us on Spotify and Apple too. If you were there today, we apologize. Go watch the YouTube for the first half of it where we're doing the film stuff. I know it's a tough listen if it's just the video. You can follow us there, all pods and recaps. So go to your feed. Leave a 5-star review and comment on Spotify. I think you can comment. Tell us what you thought of the episode. We would appreciate that very much. You can also find us via email, hbtcpod@gmail.com. We read your emails every single pod. We had a nice couple emails today. hbtcpod@gmail.com. The socials are How About Them C's for Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Facebook's the name of the pod. Streams there. They're on YouTube. They're on Twitter. Jack's Twitter's Jackson NBA. Mine's at Samuel France NBA. That's it for us.
Taco, come on.
Taco's having some fun here.
That is bogus. These guys are ridiculous.